Hey guys, I am so excited to say that my goods, my sticker sheets and my colouring in books have finally arrived after months and months and months of creation, and they are beyond what I expected. And I wanted to take you guys behind the scenes of what it's like to take product photos, to market, and everything that goes into having a successful shop launch. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The very first thing that I have to do is film a short form video, a TikTok, a reel, to show you guys that my samples have arrived and to announce that I'm having a shop update on June the 6th. And this is really good to build anticipation, to let people know it's going to be happening, to keep it in their minds, because not everybody is going to see every single post you make on social media. So it's really important to make lots of posts about the same shop update, the same goods. Also, I am so excited right now, and I think it's really important to harness that energy. So I'm gonna quickly go and film that video about opening my samples, and then after that we're going to get some video footage of all the samples, and then take some product photos, because the sunlight is so good right now and we need to take advantage of that because it's currently winter, so it's a bit unpredictable. Anyway, let's go film the short form video. This is my current setup, guys. I'm going to take quite a few product photos of everything kind of as it is. Yeah. Time jump, guys. It's now a couple hours later and I've just spent the time colouring in and filming that footage just for Instagram and TikTok videos. And I do want to do an entire page next week in watercolour, because I was like, is watercolour even going to hold on this paper? This page is watercolour. Well, part of it. Look at how good that looks. Obviously the colours are an interesting choice. I didn't map it out, I just went purely on intuition, but it's flat. Like there's barely any wrinkles, any bends. Like that is insane. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy. What other page should I do in watercolor, guys? So good, so freaking good, guys. And then I also did this one. This one is in Ahau markers, like my markers and my textures. Anyway, I'll put some of the footage that I did capture alongside somewhere. But yeah, honestly, so excited. There is one thing wrong with my book, and that is that they didn't make them perforated, like you can tear out. So when I order my final copies, when you guys order one, hopefully, I'm gonna make it sure you can like tear the pages out. They didn't do that, even though I asked for it. So exciting. The next stage of the journey is editing all the footage and doing a few reels and organising the marketing, what type of reels I want to make, the hooks and so forth. Early next week I will show you how I edit my photos and also how I upload them to my shop, because this lovely video is sponsored by Squarespace and I wouldn't be able to run my shop and make sales without it. So thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of how I do a shop update on the back end of Squarespace and how I make it look very aesthetically pleasing. I have just edited all my photos on Photoshop and I do have a video on how I do that and I'll link it somewhere here, but otherwise we're gonna go straight into creating a new product. So on the back end of my shop, I'm gonna go and click a new physical product, and that's gonna pop up all the details that I'm gonna go and fill in, and I'm gonna write the description and I'm gonna say, oh, fairy sticker sheet. I'm now going to go down and I'm going to fill in all of the descriptions, and for me it's really important to say exactly what my product is and fill in the exact details so you guys know exactly what you're getting. So I am keeping the description very distinct, very short. I'm then going to go and add my product photos. So once I have all the details filled in and the photos uploaded, I'm going to go down and make sure that I have the shipping fulfillment set up correctly, and I also have to go and edit. And this is what I really love about Squarespace, is that you can edit and customize the SEO. So I'm going to go and edit my own SEO URL so it's easy for people to find if they are looking up Chantal Leonhardt's fairy stickers online. I'm pretty much going to schedule this post for going live on Thursday at 4 p.m. and I'm going to go and do this for all my other products. Hey guys, I have just finished adding all the items to my shop, and by the time this video gets up, they will all be live. So if you'd like to purchase any sticker sheets or pre-order my colouring and book, you can. And if you don't want to miss out on the shop update in the future, you can actually join my mailing list, and I send out updates usually about 24 hours prior to any of my products going live, especially if they are originals. You can get early access, which is another great service of Squarespace. I would not be able to run my shop, send out emails, and also get paid so efficiently and easily as an artist, as they have so many different templates that you can customize to your own brand identity, no coding involved. If you're ready to open your own Squarespace shop, you can head to squarespace.com/Chantal Leonhardt and use code Chantal Leonhardt for 10% off. Anyway, thank you so much to Squarespace, and we're gonna go into the next part of the video. Hey guys, good morning. I thought to finish off this video, we would do a colouring page of my book. This one I've already started, so I thought we'd finish it together while I answer the questions you guys asked me on my Instagram. A little get to know me, where I am in my life, future projects, children's book questions, and also a lot of you guys asked me for advice if you want to start this career, so I'll give you some advice. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, and take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So yeah, without further ado, let's start colouring and answering your questions. So I had to change the setup a little bit. Oh my god, you guys are crooked. Oh my god, are you guys still crooked? I had to change the setup a bit so it was easier for me, but I have my questions. I have my favourite drink. I drink this like 3 times a week. This is my favourite iced chai almond. I don't drink coffee or matcha anymore because both of them give me heart racing and jitters and anxiety. So we're on to our iced chai. Anyway, let's begin. I've got my questions here. I've got my colouring page. I've got myself some colours ready. Let's dive into the questions. The first question that oh my god, this is going to be so hard, guys. I can't multitask. So before I answer some questions, I think it's necessary to say who I am. My name's Chantal. I am a watercolour artist and illustrator. I am 23 years old. I was born in Germany and I came to Australia when I was 1, so I don't remember anything. And I live on a small island called Kangaroo Island, which is just off the coast of South Australia. And I have been illustrating and practicing art for the last 3 years, when I opened up my own studio art gallery in the main town. And since then I have been holding workshops. I've done pencil, I've done oils. I found my love in watercolour, and about 2 years ago, so a year into opening my studio, I found my love for watercolour. I wrote the first script of Adena and Her Star, and well, the rest is kind of history. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. The first question I got was from my dad because I don't answer his WhatsApp messages. So he knows the good place to go is Instagram. He asked how am I. I find a lot of content with what I'm doing currently in my life and a lot of purpose with illustrating my children's book. And I think that keeps me really grounded in my life. I have a big goal, I have a big dream to finish this book and to be really successful with it and to reach and inspire as many people as possible. And I think that this long-term project of illustrating Adena and her star keeps me really grounded and keeps me really focused as a artist and an illustrator, when this work can be very inconsistent, can be very fluctuates up and downs, highs and lows, very extreme. And so I think this project keeps me really grounded in what I do and the purpose and passion I find in my life. The second question I got asked is, was there a period in your life that you weren't drawing or doing art? Definitely, for sure. I didn't do much art for fun in high school. I took art as a subject, but it definitely was not rewarding or wasn't fun to me or wasn't really a passion. I was just creatively talented. I would not say that I'm artistically talented or I'm a prodigy. So I didn't really exercise my artistic passion during that time in my life. Nor did I practice art when I graduated high school either. I only created my calendars that I create every year, were about 12 little watercolour paintings, and that's all the art that I pretty much ever created before I opened up my studio art gallery here. Maybe a few different bits and pieces and a few crafty, trendy projects, but I did not practice art in the way that I would be practicing art when I opened my studio, when I learned anatomy, color theory, design elements, and I put a lot of practice and a lot of time skill building in different mediums, including watercolor. But prior to that, I didn't really practice much art at all. So in saying that, I really think you are never too late to start art. You are never too late to start practicing your skills, to start learning. I was 20 years old when I started learning color theory, when I started practicing anatomy. I didn't know what design elements were prior to that. So you know what, no matter where you are in life, no matter how old you are, you can put time aside. It's never too late to pick up a new skill. It's never too late to start learning, to get outside your comfort zone, to take risks. Do it now. It's never too late. I mean, I've come such a long way in 3 years. I think that you are most capable of achieving that as well, as long as you take risks, you're determined, and you put in the time. It's not the length of time that you put into a skill, it's the time you put into that skill within that year. I don't know if that made sense. It's the time you put into the skill, not the length of time you've been studying or practicing it. Yeah. Could you give advice to someone who wants to do what you're doing, but they're at the beginning of their journey? That's a hard question because there are so many different factors that play into the beginning of your journey, where you are located in the world, what skills you have, what you want to get out of it. I think, actually, yes, the biggest advice I would give you at the beginning of your journey is, what's your goal? What's your why? Why do you want to create art? Why do you want to become a children's book illustrator? Why do you want to paint in a specific style? I think really narrowing down your why will allow you to progress your skills and advance further in your career as quickly as possible. Because once you know like your why, you can really knuckle down, you can really focus your attention on exactly what you want to say through your art. And that also blends into growing a social media presence, finding work in the industry. Like, so many things will come about more fluidly when you focus on your why and what you want to bring into the world with your art. I think specifically this person was asking though, what advice would I give them as a children's book illustrator? Actually, a couple of people asked, what would you give advice to begin as a children's book illustrator, and the biggest one that I would definitely say is having a art style, having a art portfolio is super important if you want to get work in the industry, whether you're doing freelance or whether you're doing independent work for your own small business or your own book. Having an art style is really important if you want people to follow along, if you want to be reliable and put your work out there and be able for people to recognize it. Having an art style is really important. And also, just if you don't have an art style yet, just to fall in love with the journey of creating. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't put pressure on yourself in finding an art style really quickly. It will happen. It will happen. Maybe it takes a few months. Maybe you had one from the get-go, you lucky bastard. Or maybe it takes a few years. It took me about a year and a few months of creating art every single day and trying every single medium that I could get my hands on before I found my art style with my big painting nostalgia. So just fall in love with the journey, document the journey. Maybe you don't want to document the journey, but just have patience that it will come to you and you will fall in love with the art style that you do one day have. And just fall in love with that journey and don't put pressure on yourself to find it too quickly. I also think that during this time of discovery and experimentation early on in your career, to have an outsource of purpose and passion, because you're gonna feel constantly upset. There are going to be a lot of lows, disappointed, anxious, depressed, annoyed. There's going to be so many negative emotions. Well, maybe I did when you're trying to find your art style or even grow your business in the early stages. So I think it's really important to have a purpose and passion outside of this journey, whether that's a part-time job or another hobby, just so that you can not feel as much pressure to quickly evolve your art style or quickly get to a certain destination early on in the beginning, because you want to fall in love with this journey. You want to practice, you want to have fun, you want to evolve. Don't put yourself in a place where there is a lot of pressure to be at a place at a certain time. And so that's why it's so important to have another hobby or a passion or a purpose outside of this journey. You want it to be fun. You don't want to put pressure on yourself. I now have a few questions about illustrating my children's book, Adena and Her Star. So I thought I would put them all together and answer them at the same time. The first question I have is, did you sketch out the entire process of Adena and Her Star before you started illustrating? And yes, I did. I sketched out the entire process of the book. I did a rough draft and then like a more refined thumbnail sketch for the entire book. At the very beginning, when I first ever wrote the script, and I wrote the script a year prior to illustrating it, so it's been nearly 2.5 years since I wrote the very first script of the story, and just over a year since I started illustrating. And yeah, I think very visually. So when I wrote the first script, I had every single page visioned in my mind. That's kind of how I work. I'm an illustrator first and then a writer, I guess. No, I disagree with that actually. I am a storyteller, and then I find what medium suits my stories best to tell them and share them with the world. That's more accurate. So yeah, I do have an entire process of how I storyboard, how I write the first draft of children's books, how I storyboard, and how I do rough sketches. If you want to watch behind the scenes of that, it kind of takes you through my whole process. Someone asked me what inspired Adena and Her Star, and there is two main inspirations. The first one is that it is inspired by my childhood growing up here in Australia. So you will see a lot of the illustrations be reminiscent of countryside Australia, a lot of the animals, flora and fauna. The second inspiration is inspired by my journey later on in life. When I graduated, I felt very lost and had no idea what direction I wanted to go. I lost my passion, I lost my purpose in life. So the story is about how to find what you love again after loss, especially when there are so many people and expectations telling you what to do. And I think with those two sentences, you will be able to see what symbolizes what in the story. So yeah, it is quite deep, it is quite personal, and I wrote it in a way that star could symbolize anything. Star could symbolize a lost loved one, star could symbolize moving away, something metaphysical, or if you're a child, star probably symbolizes a star. And that is the beautiful, powerful objective of storytelling, I think. I think that's what brings us together, is stories, and being able to tell a story that is interpreted 1,000 different ways based on someone else's experience and time in life and their own different cultures is what brings us together. To be able to read the exact same story, and no matter if you're young or if you're old, and to be able to interpret it in your own way is so beautiful and so powerful, and is why I create art and put it out into the world. The very last question that I want to answer today is a question that someone asked me for their artist project, and I feel very lucky to be chosen. If anybody ever does any research on me or chooses me for their project in school, please let me know. I would love to read it. I would love to see it. It tickles my ego a little bit. And she asked me a very deep question, and I took me by surprise, and I was like, whoa, nobody's ever asked me this question before. And I had to stop and I had to think about it, because she asked me, why do you paint art? Why do you create art that is inspired by your childhood? And I was like, hold up. Lots of people ask me, what is your art inspired by? But she knows it's inspired by my childhood. And she asked, why do you paint books inspired by your childhood? And I felt like that was a very deep question. My response is usually, I love to inspire people to connect with their inner child, and by creating art that is surrounded by inner child memorabilia and moments of curiosity, and sparking that wonder and that feeling of being a child again will inspire your inner child. Because I believe when we are in touch with our inner child, we can tap into our most authentic self and our innermost dreams and feelings, and we can then bring that into the world, and we can create the most fulfilling projects, the most fulfilling life, and I think give the most love into the world around us. So that is probably my reason of why I create art that is inspired by my childhood. But I don't know if that's the whole reason, because it's raining. Isn't that so beautiful? I think there is some type of beauty that, and not nostalgia. I think there is some type of love that we lose when we grow up, and can only be accessed when we view the world as a child. And I don't want to romanticize that when I say that. I don't want to romanticize the nostalgia or being in touch with your inner child again. It's more like having that same curiosity and that same wonder and that same love as an adult, and fulfilling those dreams again. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that would be my answer to why I create art and projects like my children's book, like my colouring in book, that connect us to our inner child. I think there's a special feeling, there's a special moment when we partake in these abilities that allow us to transform our life and reach our dreams again, and be able to act on those dreams and be inspired to bring them to life and to reality in the world we live in the current moment. Yeah, those are all the questions I will answer today. Thank you so much for asking them to me, for making me think about my life as an artist and to reflect on why I create art. And we're going to finish this lovely painting together, and I'll put that as an overlay. But if you guys would like to purchase your own colouring in book or your own sticker sheets, they are available in my shop. And again, thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I would not be able to sell my products online without you. And if you guys want to check out Squarespace and make your dream of having an online art shop yourself, or even displaying your portfolio, you can check the link in my description and grab 10% off with code Chantal Leonhardt. And I will see you all in my next video. I will see you all in page 10, which is nearly finished, so it'll probably be out very soon. Love you all!